Hello, good morning, everyone. It's another episode of Common Sense Commentary here, and I've got my co-host Earl Tucker, retired Navy veteran. Earl, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing outstanding. We had a little hurricane slash tornado scare this morning here in the southern part of the Carolinas, but kids are at school now and everything's good. Excited to be
Oh,
here, ready to get to
well,
work.
that's well, that's good. It was so was it one of those storms that kind of kept you up all night? Was it like windy and stuff, or?
No, it was a quick one actually. It came by this morning. It kind of was about 7:30 or so. It started coming through Georgia, across the western part of South Carolina, and it passed through pretty quick. It passed by 10 o'clock. It's not even raining anymore. So,
Oh, yeah, well, good. Well,
all good. We're good now. Good to go.
well, a lot of viewers don't know because you just mentioned it. You're in South Carolina, and I'm actually in North Carolina.
Yeah.
If they watch or if they listen to the first episode of us together as co-hosts last week, they realize we've known each other for a long time. We really don't live too far away, but you're in South Carolina. I'm in North Carolina, and we had some of that same storm system come through. I think it was moving from the west to the east, and it was pretty quick. I think here last night it was 11, 12 o'clock. And we had just kind of started to lay our heads down after the president's speech last night. And it's a little touch and go wind, and we have a lot of tall trees on our property around our house. So, fortunately, no damage. A little wet and soggy this morning, and a little cool. But spring's right around the corner. So, jumping on that and talking about that, and thank you. I'm glad you and your family are safe and you're here with us this morning. But one of the things we had texted early this morning because I wanted your reaction on the president's speech last night. What's your initial first thought or two?
Initial first thought or two, I think it was impactful. The president wanted to make a statement with this whole thing, make a splash, let the American people know what's going on, which I think he did a very good job of. What's coming next, what he's currently working on. I thought that was good, man. I think he was very much explained everything in great detail. I thought it was a success.
Well, was there any one particular thing that really something maybe he said during his speech that you really gravitated to? Maybe you didn't know about, or maybe you were happy to get a little bit more details about it. Can you explain?
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a major part, but something that comes to mind to me was when he started speaking on Zelensky and how he basically Zelensky changed his tone a little bit, saying he's ready to open up negotiations again, try to get a deal down, and all that. Because there's been a lot of, and I don't want to get into the negative stuff of other Americans standing on Zelensky's side. That's a whole nother conversation we can have at a later date. But I think it was good. I think it was good. That was a big part of it.
Well, and that was
Go
kind of
ahead.
that was kind of a I don't want to say it was a surprise, but you and I had just discussed this last week with that blow up Friday in the Oval Office on our first podcast together as co-host, and we were talking about it. You had some thoughts on that, and I had some thoughts on that as well. And one of my thoughts initially was that knowing Trump's a negotiator, been in business a long time, his family's business a long time. Uh, I looked at it a little bit differently, having been a business owner, having been in business, having negotiated thousands of deals. And, I think it kind of proves my theory right was it was, for lack of a better phrase, a power play on his part, on President Trump's part. I feel that he let Zelensky know, hey, no, the buck stops here. And I know you were thinking Zelensky was out of line and, he needed to be put in place because he was going in there and basically being disrespectful and making demands. And I think Trump says, no, this is it. Get out of the White House when you're, when you're cool and you're serious about peace and not killing your people, then come back to me. And I said then Friday when we did that I thought it was to send a signal to Zelensky, and let him know, hey, this cash is running out. This is where we are, and that this was a way inadvertently to force him back, which it looks like it did. I mean, I don't know all the facts and details. I know that President Zelensky spoke with after leaving. He flew back and met with some European leaders. And from some of the things that I've seen and read, it looks like some of these countries were going to support. We're going to support him with troops, maybe a little bit of money. But I think there was a prerequisite that they would do so as long as the United States was involved. So it was kind of they turned him down, but it looked real good. It's like, yeah, we're happy to help you, buddy, but we're not doing it unless the U.S. helps you. And so I think that gave him a little bit of false hope. And then once he realized that, there was a unity amongst the countries as far as, the U.S. needs to be involved with this. And I think that kind of sent the message. And I think Trump was banking on that. I think that he was banking that nobody was really going to do anything without the U.S. And if they did provide any kind of aid or weapons or money or anything to that nature, that it was going to be short-lived. And I mean, the fact of the matter is Russia is such a much bigger country. Plus they have North Korean troops that they've been using. And there's been a lot of death on both sides, senseless killing of young Russians and North Koreans and Ukrainians. And this thing could have really dragged on and on and on. But with Russia ultimately taking over the whole country, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, that Russia could play the long game on this because they're a bigger country. They've got the assistance from North Korea. This has been going on for 3 years. There's not really been any outside interference. A few countries, including us, have been feeding supplies and money to Ukraine. But finally, that spigot's turned off. Enough's enough. Peace. You can say you want to fight and continue fighting, but eventually you're going to run out of soldiers. You're going to run out of troops, and then your country is going to be even more destroyed. So that was powerful. I think what you said, that was a few hours before the president's speech that, Zelensky acknowledged that it didn't go how he wanted it to go. But I think after realizing that he got backed into a corner, so to speak, I think he realized, okay, I have no other alternative here. So, and I mean, I think that's good. I mean, who wants to keep killing people? I mean, it's just, it's terrible. But and you were talking about that. One of the things, I noticed, was, well, not that I noticed, but what I felt, when I first started watching this, last night, about the first 10, 12 minutes into it. Of course, it was, I think, an hour and 40 minutes long, but the first 10, 12 minutes into it, I felt a sense of a good patriotic feeling that, there was a lot of life. There was a lot of energy there, as opposed to the last State of the Union that we saw from President Biden during his administration, to where he was coughing. You thought any second this man could just die and fall into the crowd, and it was more, his State of the Union was more like a angry campaign speech. And it was supposed to be a State of the Union about this is who we are, this is what we're working on, this is what we're going to accomplish. But it was more about, it's Trump's fault and I'm going to beat Trump and we're going to keep doing this. And then, obviously we know how that how that all worked out. But in addition to feeling a sense of national pride, just seeing the togetherness of a lot of people there, it was also embarrassing. I watched, and I'm sure you saw this as well, and I want your thoughts on it here in just a sec. But watching the Democrats just sitting there, and I thought it was like Jello hour at the nursing home. I mean, they were sitting over there. They had their phones. Some were even asleep. Did you see that? Some were even asleep. I mean, I don't mind to be on I'm not trying to be on a Stephen A. Smith rampage here, but I mean, some of these people were asleep and they had their paddles like they were at an auction, trying to buy cattle. I mean, why didn't they take that money and apply it to something more meaningful? Like do something for your constituents, or try to, here's a novel idea, try to work with the opposite party. You know, I mean, one of the things to me, there were several, and we'll talk more about them. But one of the things to me was, I mean, I'm a grown man. I'm almost 46 years old, and one of the things that hit me the hardest emotionally was it wasn't anything that Trump said necessarily. It wasn't anything that anybody did. It was when they had 13-year-old DJ Daniels, and that kid had been through a lot, and to see him there in his little police uniform and hear his story. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to be there. He was supposed to have already been gone. He was supposed to be a victim of cancer. But you see this boy, and he's been battling cancer, but what he really wants to do in life is be a policeman and protect people. And I thought it was a powerful moment when I think it's Sean Curran from the Secret Service, who's also the same one that was right there on stage with Trump in Butler, PA. I saw Sean came out and he handed him his credentials, and right as they announced it, that boy's eyes looked like they were going to pop out of his head. You could just see the excitement and how much it meant to him with everything that he had gone through, with him battling cancer and still being here. That seemed like that was the most important thing to him. You know, not the cancer, but he was just happy. You know, now he can, you know, be a member of the Secret Service. And I thought the best thing was when his dad was holding him up, and then he reached over for Sean, and that was a few-second genuine hug, and it looked like Sean was going to cry. It looked like, you know, he was so happy to be holding that young man, and I think it was such a powerful moment. But what stole the thunder was the cameras panned over to Trump's right, and that's where the left was at, and they weren't applauding this. And I mean, this is the party of DEI. We want everybody included. We want all these people playing other people's sports. We want all this stuff. But you have a young minority boy that's been battling cancer that's not supposed to be here, that wants to be a policeman, that wants to serve and protect other people. That's his dream. Okay. And you're going to sit there and not applaud. I mean, what kind of message does that send? It was awfully embarrassing. And I kept thinking, I'll tell you this before you respond. I kept thinking, you know, that dad's holding that little boy up and he sees all these people cheering. It's going to be probably one of the biggest moments of his life. But then while he's on the shoulders, he looks over and there's half a room that act like he's not alive. I mean, what's your take on that? How do you feel about that?
That took that moment right there. That was probably that was the top moment, I think. Just as a human being, and for humanity. That kid, man, you know, he wants, that's what he wants to do. That's his dream. What he's gone through, you know, he had brain cancer. And then to look over to the right to see that was disheartening, man. I was hoping they wouldn't pan the camera over there, man, because that's really sad. And everybody, the world's watching. I mean, it makes a bigger point than just him, the kid. The world is watching this stuff.
Well, elaborate on that. What do you mean by that statement?
So with that, the world's watching. What the president is trying to bring is, you know, show that America, we are a strong nation, right? Mm-hmm. We're together, got our stuff together. Swinging back to the Zelensky thing, you know, showing him, hey, you're not gonna you're not gonna come in my house like this. Show that we're a strong nation. So to kind of put this in detail, I can remember a couple times I was overseas, right? I was overseas in Sicily back in 2014 during the World Cup. We were all watching the World Cup on the big screen downtown. And there was this gentleman's immigrant that immigrated from Gambia, came up to me and my friends. You know, I guess he'd been watching us. Said, "Hey man, are you guys American?" Kind of looked at him with our beer in our hands and stuff. Like, yeah, we American. He kind of laughed. He's like, "I can tell by your swag." And we just kind of laughed, like, "I can tell by your swag." I didn't know this dude knew his swag. But anyway,
Swag's universal,
But
I think.
it's universal. I didn't know it was universal at that time. It was 2014, Russ. So yeah, but it was kind of cool because he was just like, I could tell by your swag, I could tell you guys are walking around here like you own the place in a good, but metaphorically, I know what he meant though. He meant like, man, okay, people, people gravitate to us. You know, they see us as strength and like, damn, okay, these guys, they're, they're the top dogs. That's how I seen it everywhere we went. That's
Yeah.
how it was in Australia, even in like Dubai back in the 2000s. Like they see us like, man, it's Americans. Fast forwarded to like 2018, I was in the Bahamas, and I can remember being on a ride in a Uber ride. It was a crooked Uber ride. Me and my friends were in, and it was like these guys didn't respect us. They were looking at us like we was weak. Like we were, they knew we were American. Oh, they're Americans. Oh, snap. Okay. Like, okay, we about to get these guys. So I could remember me and my buddy, my two buddies. You know, we were like, okay, if it goes down, hey, you guys ready? And, you know, my buddies were ready, but it was an uneasy feeling, man, to where it's like the world don't respect us no more. The world don't respect us more. So before I give it back to you, I'm gonna give you another analogy. I love, that's how I learn. uh, Through analogies. But I mean, you can remember in the 80s and 90s, man, like Rocky. You watched all the Rockies. It was, you know, USA versus USSR. It was pride. It was strength in the country. You
Yep.
watch. I know you guys watched WWF back in the glory days. You know, you had Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Hulk Hogan with the flag, and
Coco
everybody
beware.
was Coco Beware, Birdman. Yeah. But then you had the heels, right? You had the Bolsheviks. You had the Iron Sheik.
Yep.
We booed them. They was always after us. You know, you had the Bushwhackers from New
Yeah.
Zealand. You know, you had heels. They were, you know, Bushwhackers weren't heels, but you get my drift.
Yes.
There was, you knew what it was. It was power in being an American, man. I think we're trying to get back to that. So
Yeah, I think I think you're exactly right, and I appreciate you sharing that with me and the audience because I mean it makes sense if you're anywhere in the world and you watch a speech like last night and you see there's uncertainty and a certain amount of division in our own house. I think it's easy to say that if you don't have good intentions towards the United States, and you have a little funding, you have a little money, maybe you have access to some weapons, maybe you start thinking, hey, this is a weak and divided country. Now would be a good time for maybe me to start planning something, because they can't even come together and celebrate the continuing life of somebody like DJ Daniel, a 13-year-old little boy. It has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. It doesn't matter what political party you're affiliated with. Everybody should be able to stand up and applaud that little boy's fight.
everybody.
And I've got another one that's not as powerful. But did you catch the 18-year-old young man?
Mm.
Okay, 18-year-old young man. All right, his several service members in his family. He wanted to follow in footsteps. I think they said he was a 6-letter athlete in high school. Had like a 4.46 GPA, which is crazy. Okay, so athletic, smart, and he had put in his application to West Point, which to me, he wants to go and he wants to learn how to be a leader, and then he wants to go and protect our country. Okay, I thought it was a great thing that the president was able to share that he knew he applied and his application had been accepted. And the look on his face, because I mean that was the most important thing to him in his universe right now. But then again, just like with DJ, the left, no applause. There's no standing. So you mean to tell me that one of our young men that wants to go and further his education and wants to become a leader and wants to join a branch of the service and go and defend and protect our country, the country that these dummies live in, and they're not going to stand and applaud for that. It's like, hey, you know, I don't care that you're doing that. Best of luck to you. I'm gonna sit here and play Candy Crush. I mean, he's going to go literally to school and then into some branch of the service, and he's going to maybe potentially put his life on the line. And these people don't appreciate that. I mean, that has nothing to do with what side of the aisle you're on. It has everything to do with being an American.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was disgusting, man. I want to salute that homie, man. He's doing everything the right way, man. He's gotten, not only did he put an application to go to West Point, but he got accepted into West Point. That's a big deal, man. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, right.
I know they only take maybe a couple thousand, maybe. I might be on the high end of that. Cadets a year, man.
Wow.
So that's a prestigious opportunity he has there, and to not applaud him for that, that's just under the belt, man, below the belt. That there's no excuses for it. No excuse. I mean, that taking it back to DJ, right? That could have, President could have said that could have been a little Russian kid, okay, that just got over brain, had brain damage and all that stuff, and he had a dream to become a cop or whatever, and I mean, I would have stood up and clapped for him, the kid, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And think about it, bro. Like, how inhumane that is, man. Just to both of those.
Yeah, it was
man.
just to me, it was just you follow sports like I do, and there were times last night when I was watching this where I was literally yelling at the TV like it was the seventh game of the World Series and my team was down in the ninth. I mean, it was just I couldn't believe what I was seeing because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the former administration, the president, and the vice president, weren't these the same people, the same party that were just telling us back right up to November the 5th that they were the party of unity?
Yeah.
So I didn't see any unity last night. I mean, I did on the Republican side, and it looked like everyone was thrilled. And I can tell you this, one of the things, I don't know how many people call it, maybe some of the people that are going to be watching this or listening to this later on, but one of the things I called at the beginning, right before Al Green, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but they had some hecklers kind of early on. President Trump had got there, he had gone up, and I think he shared with Vice President Vance and with Speaker Johnson. He both gave them their copies of the address, shook hands, and maybe had a loud applause there initially before he got to speak for a few minutes, and then he started to get into it, and you could hear the hecklers starting, kind of like the boo birds at a game. You could hear the hecklers, and one of the things that I was most proud of, talk about unity, was to drown out the hecklers. The whole Republican side stood up and started chanting USA, USA. And I thought that was a powerful moment, which just shut that right down. And it sent a message. American people, we're tired of this nonsense. We are so sick and tired of this nonsense. I mean, if your feelings are hurt that bad, take your ball and go home. Don't be right there, right in the middle of a speech, and where we're trying to come together and make our country great again. And it was just, it bordered on obscene for me. I mean, I guess for lack of a better word, I mean, it was disgusting. It was obscene. And, I know again that we've had folks on both sides that are very vocal, but I thought with everything going on in the country, and then with the good news earlier about President Zelensky, coming back, I thought it was a win. nobody's going to agree 100% with what a president says or does because no president's ever had a 100% approval rating. We had discussed this, but I felt like there wasn't even a chance given, to the president. And then you've got Al Green, who looked like he should be, extra in a Geico caveman commercial up there, waving his cane around, and I thought was shouting and disrespectful. There's a time and place. I'll tell you this, and a lot of people know me. All right, if I disagree with you, it's like during this show, if you say something I don't agree with, I'll say, Earl, we'll agree to disagree, and then once the camera's off, once it's off, we'll have a healthy dialogue about it. But I'm not going to call you out and bash you in front of the audience, and I know you wouldn't do the same in return. There's a healthy way to have these conversations, and it's just it's embarrassing. Like my parents used to tell me when I was a kid, if I did something and was out of line, they'd say you showed your ass. You just straight up, and you would pay for it when you got home. But this nonsense has just gone unchecked for so long, and I'm just trying to figure out what's the way back from it. What do you think?
Well, so a pimp named Slickback from the Boondocks. That's who I was thinking that Al Green came through. So I didn't know I wasn't familiar with him. I'll be honest with you. Who the hell is this?
Oh, he's from Texas, where your girl Crockett's from.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another story.
I've learned. Yeah. I have been told now. Yeah. So, that was just bad. I think honestly, I think that was a play by the Democrats. I don't know what the goal of that play was, but I think that was orchestrated. That was planned to do that. After he was leaving, there was a bunch of people tweeting and a whole bunch of people there like, "Ooh, good job, way to stand up for us, Al." That was despicable, man. What was the reason for it? I don't understand. Just like everything else that's going on now, there's no rhyme or reason for a lot of this nonsense. That was sad. That was sad, Russ.
Well, it's like one of the things that that you and I had talked about. Obviously we talked about, everybody knows there's division amongst the parties. But I couldn't help but wonder if you were a supporter for one of those members that was sitting there idle or booing or holding up their little auction paddle, trying to make a statement. What kind of message does that send to the voters? If you're a Democrat, Earl, and that little boy is held up and cheered by so many people in that room, but the person that you voted for to sit right there to look out for you and your family, what kind of message does that send?
Well, it sends a message that the left is completely brainwashed, man. I gotta say that's what it shows to me. All the stuff that's going on there now, and everything that happens is an excuse for it. For instance, I'll put minorities. Let's just say minorities in our country. I've been looking up and looking at Facebooks and even family members, and just I'm curious about what people got to say. You know what I mean? Going back to that, and and the Zelensky, the State of the Address and Zelensky, both things, right? There's people saying that they were embarrassed. They were embarrassed by the president. They're embarrassed by the president from last night, and they're embarrassed by the president for the Zelensky meeting. And they're saying they're calling him a bully. He's bullying them guys. He's bullying the Democrats. He's bullying Zelensky. I can't believe he would do that. Here's my rebuttal to that. What I got to say about that. Who cares, man? Who cares? Screw it. Bully him. That's what you want to call it? Bully him. We're back. We got to show. We're back on top. We're back on top, man. We're Americans, man. Why? I'm gonna put it like this, man. When did we start caring so much for a Russian? When did we start caring so much for somebody from the Ukraine? They don't give a damn about me. I know that for a fact. Just not even looking at this as an academic. So why is people getting so butthurt about the president bullying Zelensky for what? That don't add up. It don't make no damn sense, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think, trying to figure it out. Like, why do you care if he's a bully? He's acting like a bully. Oh my gosh,
Well, I
it
think
doesn't make any sense. I can't get it to add up.
well, and I agree with you on some of that because I think part of the issue is part of the discord here is that we just had 4 years of a president and vice president that didn't know what they were doing, and the president we didn't know if he was asleep or dead. I mean, he looks like an extra from a Walking Dead show when he's out and about, and he wasn't. I mean, I would assume and there's no facts. I have no facts to support this. Okay, so but I would assume that in his first few weeks of his presidency here, that he has probably given more airtime to reporters already than Biden did for 4 years, because it seems like every time you turn on the TV, the press pool's right there in the Oval Office, or he's somewhere talking to a group. I mean, transparency. I mean, whether you like him or not, he's giving you the information. So, I mean, I would rather him give me information I don't like and me hear it straight from him than have to try to painfully extract it out of someone like KJP, who would say that that's not right, that's inaccurate, only to backtrack 2 weeks later and tell you, yes, this is what's going on, but based on the information that she had at the time, that it was true, and she stands by the original statement. I mean, just admit when you're wrong. I mean,
Word salad. Word salad.
yeah. I mean, and Kamala. I mean, you and I hung out back in the day in a college environment, and we were around a lot of people. And anytime she speaks, I think of like a drunken sorority girl. I mean, is what it reminds me of. I mean, talking in circles, and I mean, it's 1 a.m. You're going back from the club. There's a group of you walking around, and then there's always that one that starts talking nonsense, and you've had a few drinks, but then you start thinking, what just happened? I only had a few drinks. I'm not that inebriated. So any time, and gosh, now they're saying that she's a serious name to be considered for governor of California, and it's like, look at the state now.
They ain't learned yet.
Yeah, it's just it's yeah. I mean, and that was the thing. I think there's so much of a divide and so much of a hatred for President Trump that, and I had told you this, if he would have at one point last night looked into the cameras and told the American people, do not drink any yellow liquids right now, it's bad for you, buddy, the Democrats would have walked outside and they'd be drinking gallons of owl piss and talking about how good it is. And then they would get mad at you for not drinking the owl piss with them. I mean, it's just, it's nuts. I hate to use such an analogy, but it's true.
It's not far.
I mean,
it's not far fetched.
They're going to do the opposite. And the thing is, this party clearly has no strong leadership right now. You've got Akeem Jeffries who thinks he's Obama 2.0. Okay. You've got the what's her name, Slutkin, that did the Democratic rebuttal last night, and that's a lost ball in high weeds. Made nothing valid there, no substance there. They have to have somebody that's either going to unite the party and let's say, you know what, we need to give this a chance, because guess what? We can be like Ukraine. We can fight for 3 or 4 years, but what's it going to get us? So they've got 4 years before they can really affect any kind of major change. because President Trump's, got 4 years here. So, do you want to keep fighting and treating this like a barroom brawl in front of the media, in front of the American people, or do you actually want to do something good for your constituents? And I mean, that's where I'm at. It's just like Orange Man bad, I'm right, but I don't give a damn about my constituents because I'm not thinking about them. I'm more focused on this party and whatever he says is good. I want to undo it. I'm so mad. I don't like him. And the people that are affected are the American people, the voters, the people that work 9 to 5, the people that work at your local Walmart, your local Uber drivers. I mean, all these people are affected by the policies that are or are not in place, and all of the things that go on in the world. They all affect each other. But if all you want to do is to drive blindly and fight blindly with no clear direction for another party that's actually trying to do some good, that's trying to save taxpayers' money, I mean, there's no help. I mean, you can't. I mean, maybe Elon Musk needs to give them some Neuralink so they can finally see, because these people are blind.
Well, there's no, like I said, there's no leader. There's no leader over there. They don't have a. You would usually there's, you're looking. They're looking ahead to a prospects for their next candidate for the next 4 years. But I know it's desperate. It's desperation over there now. They'll do anything to try to get that power back, man. I don't think all the visibility that Jasmine Crockett that you're seeing with her is not on accident.
God help us.
Tell you what, they're pushing out AOC. I mean, those are two. Those are two of the top people they're pushing out. I don't know if you heard this one, but there's people saying Stephen A. Smith.
I have heard that. Yes,
for a spot, man. He's out there a lot. He's out there. He's saying, I'm an independent. I'm not he's kind of going in circles. I think he's an undercover Republican, to be honest with you, but he getting his paper though. He getting his money. I ain't mad at him. He doing what he got to do to get paid. Do your thing. But and the other name I'm hearing is Gavin Newsom. This dude can't take care of his state. You want him to run the country into the ground? That's what he'll do. He can do that. But there's no serious contender, man. There's no serious contender, and it's like they're grabbing at straws now, and they won't concede. They won't. They don't want to work together. With everybody, with this side. It's shambles, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
So let me ask you this. I want your thoughts on this, because I haven't asked you. I have no clue what you're getting ready to say. So obviously, someone is coordinating behind the scenes, whether it's Chuck Schumer or someone else or Hakeem Jeffries. Like this little protest last night with the paddles and a few of these people walking out. Who do you think's behind the scenes running the party, trying to tell them what to do right now? Who do you think it is?
Oh man, that's a excellent question, man. I think I can't pinpoint a name. Somebody that's pulling the strings and pushing puppets out to do certain things. I think it's a handful of people. It might be some people that's out of sight, out of mind.
Someone maybe like Barack Obama.
Very well could be. Very well could be, man. A lot of people say he was running the country while Biden was sleeping in there.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but did you catch? It was very interesting. President Trump was asked the other day by one of the press pool reporters, I guess, about his interaction with Biden when Biden had invited him to the White House, and I think they met for like an hour and a half in the Oval Office, and Trump made no bones about it and said that Obama was one of the people Obama and Nancy Pelosi were the people that that he had some angst towards, and that he specifically named and blamed for pushing him out.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. So, with that being said,
Yeah.
if an ex-president has that much influence on a current president and the decisions they make, safe to assume that maybe they're behind the scenes with the current day Democratic Party.
Yeah. Yeah. I can absolutely see that. Well, even let's think about this, man. Before Kamala Harris, started running after Joe went brain dead during that debate, Barack Obama didn't come right out and push for Kamala Harris.
That's true.
If you remember that, he didn't come out. There was people like, oh, well, they haven't gotten the endorsement from him. It was kind of a last second ditch, man, to where I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was close to the time when the results was going to come out, to where he.
So do you think he was trying to? So do you think in that time where he didn't come out and openly endorse and push her, do you think that couple of days or 3 days or whatever it was, do you think maybe he was trying to talk Michelle into it?
That could have been, man. I remember talking to my father, man. I said, probably would have had a better chance. Eastside probably would have had a better chance with running Michelle Obama than Ms. Harris, man.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree.
I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it 100, man. I'm just like this. I told him this ain't gonna work. I haven't even seen her the last 3 years. It's like, who's the vice president? Like, you didn't even she didn't. I see why they didn't bring her out to talk. I see now. Right? So, and we see when she was talking, going for the president, back in 2020, when she got embarrassed by Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah,
that was
true.
Embarrassing.
The population, people are short-sighted. That's true. Yeah.
Ooh, no, people don't remember that. She couldn't say nothing. She was just sitting there looking dumb, man. Said, man. So yeah, man. It was. I'm surprised she got the amount of votes that she got. For real, I don't think anybody paid attention to what she said. They were just saying, "Oh, this is what we're voting for." And then during her rallies, let's go watch Megan Thee Stallion go shake her ass. And she got her money, which, like I said, I don't let everybody get your money, whatever. But
that's right.
What does that say about you? What does she think about you? This is who she got to bring for you to show up, and this is what she thinks of you. This is what she thinks you are. I would be appalled. I'd be embarrassed. Like, this is what you think of us? This is what we do. This is it. This is the substance. That's it.
That's a good perspective.
I'd be embarrassed. If that was my candidate, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be pissed, to be honest with you. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing that because I hadn't thought about it that way, that much in depth. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if that would have been my candidate, I would have been the same way. I mean, it's just like it was scripted and so produced that one of the problems is whether you like him or you hate him, when President Trump speaks, it's authentic. He can go off the rails and not come back to his initial thought for a few minutes, but it makes him like, you are my next door neighbor. It's not scripted. I know that it's genuine. It's his thoughts. It's coming from him. Yeah. It wasn't a speechwriter. He went off script, and he's sharing a little insight. And to me, that humanizes someone a little bit more. And that was my thing with Harris. You never got a feeling of who she was, if she was an authentic person. All she did was cackled and word salad. I mean, that's all I got. And I mean, I, like you, I want to give everyone a chance, and I want to listen, and I want to see what the message is, because if I don't agree with it, there might be some part of it that I do. And I tried a couple of times, and there was just no message. I mean, you're wanting some type of first time home buyer credit, of like $50,000, I think, for first-time home buyers. That's great, but read the room, know the time and place. With the inflation that administration had caused, which she tried to distance herself from, but you know what? She's just as guilty. She might not have been the bank robber, but she was driving the getaway car. And I mean, my thing was there was no substance. I mean, she might have had one or two things, but that it's just like the Democratic Party right now. This is not what is important to the majority of Americans right now. We want to feel safe at our borders. We want to be able to afford food and not have to put things back. We want medicines and things of that nature and healthcare. We want to have access to it. We want it to be affordable. We want Bobby Kennedy to figure out what the hell is going on with our food and make sure that it's healthy for kids and grandkids, that we're not poisoning them, because there's so many more cases of diabetes right now. And, this is another thing with me and the Democrats right now in the party is, I'm assuming that a lot of them have families, children or grandkids, unless they eat their young, which they could, because some of them are so hateful, like Elizabeth Warren. I could picture her doing that. But I mean, my thing is, if you don't agree with some of these things, at least have enough gumption and at least be passionate about people are trying to do something for the next generation, whether it's to make food healthy, because it affects, not just, my family, your family, but it also affects their family. So who wouldn't want to find out more about what's going on with our food and how things are processed and the ingredients that we have in our food that most other countries don't allow to go in their food. So, I mean, it's absolutely nuts to me. We still have a few minutes. I wanted to cover something too, Earl. You and I have talked briefly about this before, and again, talking about the division. But there's something that doesn't make sense to me. There was a couple of things, and I'll explain them. This past few days, there was a study that came out, and I think it was more or less of a poll, but American citizens' trustworthiness in mainstream media is at a 50-year low. Okay, so put that in your pocket for a second. All right. The next thing is that there seems to be a ratio of about 4-1. And what I mean by that is, you follow social media, so do I. If someone, for instance, goes on to X or to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or something like that, and they go on and they post something along the lines of, I like this part of President Trump's speech last night because I have a family member in this situation. All right. That person will post that onto their social media account. And I say 4, but it's more like 6 or 7. You will have complete strangers, or you will have friends that you don't remember that you have, or work acquaintances, come on and think you're the spawn of Satan because you said something positive that you thought was impactful. So my point is, okay, they will go on and they'll be mean and hateful too. They'll call you a cult member. You're part of the problem. You're brainwashed. Okay, but the people that are calling you brainwashed are the same people that said, oh, yeah, we got to stand 10 feet apart, 6 feet apart. We got to wear a mask. We don't have to wear a mask. We have to wear 2 masks. We have to have 4 boosters. We have to have 14 boosters. And none of that shit really comes out and works. I mean, if you're going to wear a mask, I mean, you might as well put a chain link fence over your face, because that's essentially what these masks were doing, unless you were buying the one that makes you look like you're in an alien movie that nobody could afford. Okay. So
very expensive.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts. So knowing what I just told you, you've got 4 of these leftist lunatics that want to jump on to a well-meaning post. I mean, I've seen it. I've been a victim to it myself, to where I'm like, hey, I'm glad President Trump went over. One of his first things back in office was to go over and provide some words of encouragement and talk with victims of Hurricane Helene. All right. That's not far from me. That's 35 minutes from me. Pretty important. Okay. And I thought it was good. There was a post I commented on. And I said, I think it's good. If nothing else, it gives those people a little hope and encouragement, because I don't care who you are, seeing someone in the highest office of the land come into your backyard and spend a few minutes with you or your neighbor might just be enough. Hey, I might not like the guy, but hey, it gives me a little bit of hope. It's like, hey, we're not forgotten about. Here's somebody here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for not forgetting us. But I can tell you, there were so many people that were just mean and hateful and spiteful and would say, you're part of the problem. You're brainwashed. And some of it was a lot worse. And we're trying to keep this PG-13, so I don't want to repeat that. But I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. And then people that I don't know going onto my Facebook page and stalking previous posts were things I shared. Some of it just patriotic. Some of it talking about, I agree that we shouldn't have the sexes intertwined in each other's sports. And you get laughing emojis and be like, what kind of person thinks that's a funny topic? But then the same people are the ones that, oh, well, you don't follow the news. You don't read the news. Dummy. There was just literally a report that said that American citizens' trustworthiness in mainstream media is at a 50-year low, 5 decades. But these are the same people that want to pick a fight, disagree with you, and tell you to go watch the news when we just found out that most people don't believe what's in the news. So what's your comments on that?
Well, I agree. The majority of people online are leftists, man. The reason for that, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm thinking there's a lot of people that don't got nothing to do, man. They don't got nothing, don't got no job to complete, don't got nothing going for them.
Well, can I ask you? Not to cut you off, but I want to ask you a real quick question on that. And this was part of my discussion was with that ratio and what you just said. A majority of people online. My question is to you and anybody listening is, if there's that many people on the left, that many people that support the Democratic Party values, based on that ratio alone, 4-1, Trump shouldn't be in the White House right now. We should have a Democratic president. So how does this happen?
Good point. So it's funny. There's a couple people I watch online, man, that's got some shows, and there was one point in time with all what you're saying, what everything we're seeing online is, not left rhetoric. There was a guy that said, look, here's what I believe. And he was so right about it, man. He said, look, here's what I believe is going to happen, man. Next year, we are the silent majority. When I go out in the streets, when I'm walking around town, he's in Detroit. What's online doesn't match what's in the streets. That's what he said. He travels around the country, you know what I mean? He's like, there's people that's like that, but it's like akin to the dude in his parents' garage in his underwear doing this stuff. You know what I mean? The people that are doing it, nobody that's productive, that's online all day doing this. The
fry guy that got fired from Burger King. Yeah,
real ones.
Yeah, he's got nothing else to do now. Yeah,
nothing else to do. So he said that was his main thing. He said, man, I think we're the silent majority. So I think that's kind of what's even going on now. There's a silent majority going on. There's more of us than there's them, right?
Well, I agree.
Obviously, we've seen from the voting, it showed us that. But he said that a year ago, and I was skeptical at the time. I was like, I don't know, man. Man, there's a lot of hate getting spewed out right now. I don't know it, but it ended up, he was right. He was correct, man. I was like, okay.
Well, one of the things I wish, it's so profound, I wish I could take credit for, but it actually came from, it was actually a quote from, excuse me, from one of my all-time favorite comedians, Dave Chappelle. And Dave said that part of the problem is, and he said this a while back, I mean, this is several years ago on the Joe Rogan show, and he said, people can't agree what the truth is. And I think that's a pretty powerful statement, even if you remove the source and say, okay, Dave Chappelle, I've seen a lot of his skits, this guy's borderline racist. Okay. And it's not the truth. That's not true. Everybody should know Dave's story by now. But I thought that was a pretty impactful statement, because maybe this statement's kind of where we're at with, this is a cause maybe for some of this division, because people simply can't agree what's true right now, because there's so much information out, and then we already know through the study I was just talking about that the trustworthiness amongst the mainstream media is at a 50-year low. So maybe it's something as simple as that. Maybe people just don't know, they can't separate fact from fiction. And maybe this causes this because you yell at me and tell me I'm wrong. I tell you, no, I'm right. And then next thing you know, we're in a fist fight in the middle of the highway. I mean, it's just, that's where we're at right now, because I don't think people can agree, one, on what the core issues are, because obviously the Democrats, they didn't think anything was wrong with the border. Matter of fact, Biden said he couldn't do anything about it. It was the Republicans' fault because they wouldn't pass a bill that he proposed. But that bill also had so much other of this junk packed into it, like this USAID stuff. So you've got a certain amount of funds that go to a good cause, but then you have all this other stuff. And that's why I hate these bills that get so much stuff packed into them. One, I don't think our elected officials are reading the whole thing. And I think they don't understand what part of it is. And it's like, if you're going to propose a bill to fund the border, let's do that. Let's not pack it with nonsense junk about, transgender surgeries for kids, or, medications for people in Zimbabwe or something. I don't know those people in Zimbabwe. Do you know them?
Nope.
I mean, they might be fine folks, but hey, we've kind of had to figure stuff out, and we have like a $36 trillion deficit. I think we need to kind of take care of in-house before we go on a shopping spree everywhere else.
Yeah, that deficit, man. I can go on and on and on about that, man. That'll probably be for another show, digging into that big time, man. But yeah, man. I don't see how you got issues or problems with with them going into that stuff to save you money, unless you've been doing some dirty stuff yourself, man. Unless you got,
Well,
they're gonna find
and
some
that's
stuff on you. Like, man, come on now. They're
yeah,
trying to put some money back in our pockets.
well, and that reminds me too of I think Speaker Johnson and Elon Musk are wanting an audit of our money in Ukraine, because I think it was $75 million of the last money sent is unaccounted for. Zelensky says he doesn't have it, doesn't know where it goes. So that's $75 million of our money that's just poof
Yeah,
gone. So was it laundered? Was it like, hey, we're going to send this to you, but I need you to cut me a check back for Hunter's rehab? I mean, I mean, it absolutely makes no sense to me.
doesn't
Um,
add up, man.
but we will. In closing, I thought this was another impactful statement, and it's another Dave Chappelle statement. Who would have thought he's like a modern day
Hey, man,
Socrates?
we grew up on him, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Chappelle's like Socrates here.
Hmm.
Um, so profound. But he says he doesn't have the ability to throw away another human being because they don't agree. And I thought that was a strong statement, because so many people are dismissive, especially going back to talking about social media, like we've been talking with the post. I'll just block you. You're no longer my friend. I mean, and I know your situation too. Mine is, I've had friends for years,
Hmm.
and I've lost a few of them just because I'm like, hey, just read this. Here's the
Yeah.
facts, and they don't want to accept or acknowledge the facts. They're so adamant about I'm wrong and they're right, even though I can present the facts,
Yeah.
that they can throw somebody away. I don't have the ability just to throw people away that disagree with me. I can agree to disagree. What do you think?
Yeah. It seems like a simple thing, right, man? Simple
It should
concept.
be. Yeah, it should be.
But it isn't so simple, man. You go out the mouth and say something that you believe, man, and they don't believe you. They're coming at, they're coming for you, man. Coming at your throat, man. They're coming at your
Well,
throat. I don't, I don't waste my. I got to the point so I just don't waste my time with it. I speak with like people, or I'll speak with somebody that does have a different opinion than myself that I know, and that we can have a good conversation about. But the majority of these people, man, you can't. You talking to the goddamn, excuse me, like, you talking to the wall.
well,
Speaking to the
I would.
wall, man.
Well, I would say exactly like you said. If you know, the basis of a healthy discussion and a healthy dialogue is to find someone in your inner circle that maybe strays or votes differently than you, or has different opinions and insights, and maybe sit down and have a cocktail with them and say, hey, we're friends. I don't want you to get your feelings hurt, but your people, your group, that your party, this is how you feel. What gives, and then just start a healthy dialogue. Yeah, I mean, and it makes complete
like
sense
grown
to
people,
me.
like adults, man. Act like an adult.
Well, it's too bad. It's too bad our friends on the left couldn't act like adults last night. That was, I think a lot of it was hypocritical, based on what you see when they get up on social media and they get in front of cameras. A lot of the things that they say, apparently they forgot they said them, because last night showed a completely different message. Like I said, it's supposed to be the party of we're including everyone and everybody gets a participation trophy and everybody's voice should be heard. And, I mean, I'm happy for 13-year-old DJ. That's something that he'll have for the rest of his life, no matter how they feel about it.
Awesome.
But, in closing, it's absolutely just just disgraceful and embarrassing. We've got more you and I've discussed. We'll have this episode today. We'll have another episode, I think, that's going to drop Friday. And what we'll tell you guys out there listening and watching, comment, reach out to us, reach out to Earl. He's on X, YouTube. You can also comment, reach out to me. Please like and subscribe if you like something that I've said or that Earl said, or a topic, or you dislike it. Let us know. But also, if you've got like-minded friends, share it with them. It's always good to have an external source or outlet like this if you're not sure how to communicate with friends or family, and you want something that's non-threatening, that's common sense commentary. This is a good tool for you to have in your toolbox to use and say, hey, I discovered this. These guys kind of think like we do, or they think like my aunt does. So it could be useful. I've had people message me and say, hey, they like how simple it is. We don't dive too deep and get into all this jargon. It's things that should be common sense and relatable for most people. So once again, like we said last time, thank you for inviting us in, whether you're watching us on your TV or whatever electronic device, or if you stole your kid's iPad and you're watching it under your blanket. We appreciate it. We appreciate you inviting us in and spending some time with us. We hope to, with your support and your likes and subscriptions, we hope to be able to keep doing this again. We enjoy it. And if there's something that you're not comfortable talking about, maybe with your next door neighbor or with a friend or a coworker, and you want someone to address it, send us a message. Reach out to us. We're happy to dig in and maybe explain something in a way and in a format that maybe it's difficult for you. We're happy to do it. So Earl, if you don't have anything else going on, we'll close it out here. God bless you. God bless you, and love your neighbor. And please, when you see someone like DJ, stand up and applaud them, if nothing else, for the battle for life that they've gone through, and appreciate life. No matter what political affiliation, everyone should have an admiration and appreciate how precious life is. Until next time, this is Common Sense Commentary. We'll see you later.